Hey everyone, Soup here. I just wanted to go ahead and let all of you know that this isn't exactly a return to schedule. We've been having a lot of technical and personal problems here at Nazaria, but those are slowly but surely getting cleaned up. And we are excited to let you know that Book 2 will be returning soon. This is just an episode to buffer between books. We really hope you enjoy it, and I want to thank you all so much for sticking with us. Previously, on Nazaria. Though the war was over, the forest of Shalavon was burned to embers due to miscommunication.
Alwyn! What have you done?!
In the crossfire, the mercenary known as Draemus was killed, leaving behind a family and a promise for Kellan to uphold.
You'll teach Gabriel, right?
With the war over, a ritual began to bind the heart of the Soul Tree to the heart of the river. But before it could be completed, the lone drow known as Noros attacked.
No more masks.
With the king slain, the city fell into chaos. And the young Prince Alvius developed some unexpected changes. Chapter 11. Into the Fire. Welcome back.
Alvius,
He's unconscious.
what the hell happened to him?
I don't know. Gods above, he's lost a lot of blood.
Are those horns?
Where the hell is Aemil?
What the hell is happening?
The water fountains of Edea Peak's courtyard slowly faded to a deep burgundy.
Roxy. Come here, girl.
Kellan pulled the blanket from his satchel and handed it to Thimbis. The crowd of elven civilians rushed into them, nearly trampling over the orc, gnome, dwarf, and the being that was once Alvius.
Grab him up. We've got to move.
I'll try to find Soren.
Come on, little guy, hold on.
Thimbis wrapped Alvius into the fur blanket and lifted him over his shoulder. The crowd pushed against them as they ran towards the sounds of chaos. Aemil rushed into the horde of terrified elves and tried to make his way to the center of the palace.
Sorry. Kellan. Thimbis.
I think I hear Aemil.
Over here!
Kellan's shrill voice cut through the crowd as Aemil ran towards the center of the palace. Thimbis, exhausted, leaned upon the great white stone staircase, leading from the top of the temple to the depths of the dungeons.
What's going on?
Alvius,
Something happened to Alvius, and Brynwood is dead.
Another dead king?
The least of our concerns is the dead king. The drow is here. Alvius has turned into something, and we can't find the others.
What happened to Alvius?
It's complicated.
I don't feel like unwrapping him now.
We need to find the others before we do anything.
I know!
Stop yelling, damn it. Nugbar could be hurt, and if he is, I'm killing both of you.
A royal elven guard fell from the top floor and descended into the abyss below.
Oh no.
That could be Saren and the others up there. What if they're killing the Golden Rose?
Let's move.
Nuggy,
Thimbis led the rush to the top floor, Alvius swaddled in his arms. Aemil and Kellan followed behind, as Thimbis suddenly halted.
oh no.
A group of men adorning black cloaks and silver masks descended the staircase towards the trio.
We don't have weapons. Kellan, you're going to have to take care of them.
They confiscated my spellbook.
The hooded men simply walked by the adventurers without a passing glance.
What the?
We don't have the time to look into it.
The closer the adventurers came to the top of Castle Raider's Peak, the quieter the chaos became. Fury came into focus. Montraeus and the Shalavon rebels stripped the weaponry from fallen elven guards, as the guards who stood slid out of their armor and began to cover themselves in elven war paint, using quills and inks from the temple. Edea stood behind Draemus as he begged with his brother.
Montraeus, stop this. We need to leave.
No. This is a sign from the gods. The tyrant is dead, and the castle is ours, and the city will soon follow.
Our home is gone. There are forces outside of our control at play.
What's going on?
Montraeus is killing or enlisting the royal guard. He's gone mad.
I've not gone mad. I'm simply taking advantage of a situation. You're both too weak to see our victory will require sacrifice.
Look, your problems are yours, and ours are ours. We're looking for our group. Have you seen them?
I gave Nogbar to Saren and they said the Golden Rose was headed to the armory. It's one of the lowest levels.
Good. Let's head to the armory.
Draemus. You need to...
You can't be serious. The city is ours. You're letting some half-bred bastard cloud your mind.
He's not a bastard.
What are you...
Montraeus' eyes widened as his throat ran dry.
Maria.
Yes, Maria.
I thought she was just something to pass the time. I never figured you'd marry her.
You knew and you said nothing. I suppose I should thank you for that.
Edea shot a wide-eyed glance at Aemil as she realized the truth.
Thank me for nothing. I just thought you better than to conjugate with a human whore.
Don't you dare.
Aemil!
Aemil fell onto the staircase, blood flowing from his mouth. The color faded from Draemus' face as he turned to his son.
Find a healer, now!
I am a healer.
You look pretty rough.
I need to... I need to get up.
You're going to die.
I'll be fine.
If you keep going, you'll be dead before the sun rises. Aemil, please. Let me help you.
Alright.
Tell your captain he's safe. We'll survive if we're lucky.
But-
I can convince them to take him with us. But a few of them think you assisted in destroying our forest. Leave.
It was nice sharing a carriage with you, Aemil.
I wish I could say the same. You snore a lot.
Kellan smiled softly at Aemil. Thimbis gave a firm nod, and the two of them descended the white stone stairway. Edea's eyes followed the duo as they left, then cast a desperate glance to Draemus.
Go. I know you'll be better off with them.
Edea said nothing, then ran after the two of them as quickly as she could.
Edea, what are you doing?
Something stupid.
You're far from the only one.
The stone staircase was covered in the corpses of elven nobles, throats slashed and skulls shattered, bloody footprints almost completely covering the white stone in crimson. Banners of all noble families, from Wyrnwood to Nettlethorn, had been torched and were nothing but ashen and burned cloth.
Oh, shit. I thought us orcs were brutal in war.
This is more than war. This is hatred.
Draemus let his scouts do as they wished with passing caravans, wicked acts as they were. But he never massacres to this degree.
No civilians.
What do you mean?
These were all members of noble houses or royal guards. I was in the crowd. None of these bodies are commoners.
These must have been the guards protecting them.
What appeared to be a ball of black smoke fell from the temple down towards the depths of the castle.
What was that?
We've got to hurry.
Lower and lower, past the wine and the pantries, a sliver of hope was heard in the distance.
Come on, you bastard.
I hear the others.
Nugbar!
Be quiet. There could be...
Thimbis rushed down into the abyss that was the armory, the other adventurers following hastily behind.
Oh, thank the gods you're alright. Have you seen Aemil?
He's staying with the rebels.
Damn it. We really could have...
Where is Nugbar?
Colin's holding him. The kobold has been manic for the last few minutes.
Give him to me now.
Take him! He keeps trying to get down to the lower levels. And what is she doing here?
Nice to see you again, too.
Just stay out of our way.
Gods, he's shaking. Nuggy, what's the matter, buddy?
The small Nugbar thrashed and flailed in Thimbis' grip and pointed towards the descending stairway.
You want to go down there? Why?
We passed all the food. What could Nugbar smell down there?
The dungeon and the gold depository, I think.
How do you know that?
I tried to learn all I could to impress the king. We need to get our weapons and find a way out of here. Oaktooth told us about Alvius. We've got to get as far away from the city as possible.
What is it? You smell something down there?
Nugbar pointed to Kellan.
A gnome?
I don't think that's what he means.
2 gnomes?
Kellan, we need you to help us with this vault. It's unlocked, but something has it jammed.
All right, I may have something that can help us out of here. I just need my spellbook.
Where's your spellbook?
Oh, the guards took it and put in the... Oh, son of a bitch, it's with the weapons.
Do you have any you know by heart?
I could maybe try a few things.
Get on it!
I think I should go see what's bothering Nugbar.
I can send Niles or Quildis with you.
Don't bother. I'll be right back.
The stairway had no light, only darkness. Thimbis descended. A warm smell of molten metal began to glow through the air. At the bottom of the stairway was a drow, standing in an open dungeon cell. The chained door ripped from its hinges.
Oh, shit.
Thimbis took an offensive position, but the drow didn't even seem to bat his eye towards them. He appeared to have placed his hand into the stone wall, moving through it like water.
He hasn't seen us yet, Nuggy.
I know you're there.
I think he's seen us now.
You aren't exactly quiet.
The drow's dark blue eyes darted towards the orc.
Shouldn't you be up there, slaying the masses of evil?
My axe is locked up right now.
Do you really need one? I've heard the Oscler can tear the heads off their enemies with their bare hands. Why are you here?
Well, Nuggy wanted to see what was down here, and yeah, we can tear the heads off, but it's pretty tiring.
Quite. I'm afraid the safe won't be of use to you if you were planning on looting it.
Thimbis looked to see the vault was leaking melted gold and silver, melding together onto the white stone floor.
Damn.
Thimbis looked back to see the drow had pulled a white gold ring from the cell wall.
What is he? Wait. Nugbar?
Thimbis saw that the kobold had slipped out from his sheath and was now standing in front of the drow.
Oh no.
Thimbis ran over and picked up Nugbar.
No!
Alright, stay back!
It's quite alright.
What happened?
Nugbar pointed to the drow's throat. At this, Thimbis realized the drow's skin wasn't black at all. The skin was grey. The burns were pitch ebony, glimmering like ink upon stone. The burns wrapped around the drow's throat, leading up to his mouth, a spiral of evisceration forming a smile. The drow ran a gloved hand across his neck.
Fire, little one.
With that, the drow vanished into black smoke.
Don't ever do that again.
Nugbar.
As the orc traveled back up the stairway, Kellan and the Golden Rose tried to force open the thick metal doors of the armory. Kellan felt for any obstruction with a spectral hand on the other side, as Sarin, Kip, and Javier, and the others simply intended to push the doors open.
Anything?
I think I've got something. Feels like someone wedged a dagger into it.
The doors burst open as the scent of blood filled the air. 3 elven guards lay dead on the armory floor, ripped open with entrails spread across the ground. Standing proudly above them was a warrior.
Oh, gods.
The void in the warrior's helm opened as a set of needle-like teeth shone through. He sheathed his blade and simply walked over the gore to the terrified Rose. The Golden Rose parted and let the warrior ascend to the upper levels. The warrior looked back to the Golden Rose.
You lucky young fool.
At that, the warrior vanished into a mist.
What the hell was that thing?
We saw it on Herrick, and I think we saw it in the wine cellar.
Move the bodies out of the way. Fill your packs with everything. We need to get out of here.
Okay, hand me my spellbook. I have some gem chalk left. I can make a teleportation circle, but our locations are very limited. Our torches will set the circle off when the runes are done, so let me know when we're packed to finish them.
Just move.
The Golden Rose pulled weapons from the shelves. Alvius's emerald green blades, bone arrows and oak bows from the Shelvon rebels, along with a variety of Theravin steel blades from the Elven army. They tossed everything they grabbed into the center of the large circle Kellan had drawn. Thimbis came into view as he ascended the stairway.
What the fuck?
Grab weapons. Move.
How are we gonna...
I've got it covered. Just move.
So, what happened to Alvius?
Don't touch him.
Alright.
Alright, is that everything? I just need a few more runes.
Just get it done. We'll figure this out when we get out of here.
You aren't going anywhere.
At the bottom of the stairwell, Alwyn stood trembling. His flesh was bruised a deep violet. The wound above his eye was leaking blood down his swollen face. The bone of his wrist had snapped and burst from his flesh, as patches of torn muscle hung from the wound.
None of this was supposed to happen. It was supposed to be simple. His plan was perfect.
We can help you. You just have to come with us.
None of you are going anywhere. You all should have just burned in that forest.
Alwyn pulled the sword from his sheath with a shaking hand.
You pay for the curse you brought to our kingdom.
Thimbis unsheathed his axe and began to walk towards Alwyn.
Stay in the circle. I'm almost done.
Teleportation circle. So I only need to kill one of you?
Alwyn lunged towards Kellan at an uncanny speed, narrowly missing Thimbis' axe head, grabbing onto Kellan's wrist.
Kellan!
In a brief moment, Kellan blinked and saw himself in the throne room of King Gallus Rinwood, looking down upon the shame-ridden Montraeus.
We accept.
Kellan realized he was looking through Alwyn's eyes. This was earlier that very day. As servants filled the room, he felt a hand rest on his shoulder. He turned his head to see Gallus Rinwood smiling softly at him.
Alwyn, a moment, please.
Alwyn followed Rinwood into the hallway behind the throne, stepped into the king's quarters, shutting the door behind him. The king stood out on his balcony, staring at the black smoke rising across the land.
Excellent work, Alwyn.
Your Majesty.
Those savages are crippled. They barely even had the strength to look me in the eyes.
Your Majesty, one of the mercenaries we hired was killed in the crossfire. We could have killed them all if we hadn't stopped when we did. What if Saren told me the truth? What if that boy is a Nazi-
I'm aware. Think nothing of it. He was just a drunk. Besides, the payment his family will be receiving will be worth more than he ever was. As for the immortal, even if that half-breed they call a captain was telling the truth, it's useless knowledge. The Fade will be gone in a generation, so focus on the matter at hand. We have our hands wrapped tightly around those Rodkin, and I intend to wring as much as I can from that forest.
Your Majesty, the forest was destroyed.
Exactly. They'll be so desperate for shelter that they'll let us do whatever we please with them. We just have to grind them down a touch more, and they'll sign themselves away to us.
Slaves?
More like indentured servants.
Like the human girls. Your Majesty, Saren, he looks like you.
Alwyn, what are you insinuating?
Your Majesty, the girls you get from the human cities, I feel you tend to get a bit close to them. Sometimes I found them weeping in their quarters.
Alwyn, I'm aggrieved that you could assume that I would bring myself low enough to philander with a human.
Forgive me, Your Majesty.
No. Forgive me, Alwyn.
Your Majesty?
You've been the captain of my guard for 23 long years, Alwyn. You can call me Gallus.
Of course. You're Gallus.
My shame knows no bounds, Alwyn. There is truth to your accusation.
What do you mean?
I've been intimate with some of the human girls. They just tempt me, so carelessly.
They tempt you?
I am not perfect. In a way, I feel pity for them. They live such short lives, so they should be honored to share my bed with me.
So Saren
is the result of my weakness, yes. I would have raised him as my own, but his mother simply took him from me and raised him in squalor. I'm sure you remember the cleric we had executed.
I won't judge you, Gallus.
Gallus turned to Alwyn and placed his hand on his cheek. Alwyn's stomach began to flutter. His hand trembled slightly as Rinwood smiled at him.
I'm so happy you understand, Alwyn.
Kellan!
Thimbis knocked Alwyn onto his back as Kellan faded into reality. With the flick of a wrist, Kellan finished the final rune as a blue light consumed them. The golden rose was suddenly dropped 2 feet into ice-cold water.
Where are we, Kellan?
What the hell was that?
Kellan!
Hi, William.
Pa! Keelan's home! He brought... friends!
Hello, everybody. I am Ava Rogers, and I play Edea Everflow. Nazaria is based on a homebrew Dungeons & Dragons game created by Soup, who portrays the narrator, Nugbar, and Half-Ear. Thimbis was created and portrayed by Barkley Brown. Kellan was created by Moose and portrayed by Rafe Telsh. Saren and the Drow are portrayed by Kellison Forrester. Aemil was portrayed by Clark the Bear Angel. Colin and Oaktooth are portrayed by Ryan J. Crowder. Montraeus Everflow was portrayed by Cykotron. Draemus Everflow was portrayed by Angelo Cerna. Alwyn Lyrith is portrayed by Andre Piper. Script editing was supplied by Jupiter Sanders. Ambiance and sound effects are supplied using Syrinscape. Background music is supplied by Dark Fantasy Studio. If you'd like to support Nazaria, feel free to donate to our Patreon and visit our merch shop. Also, feel free to join our Discord. And if you have any proclivity to know myself personally, Ava Rogers, you can see me Monday nights over on twitch.tv/Master of Rem as part of a Rem Alternatives Productions stream where we play in the Dresden Files universe using a slightly different system than the normal Fate. You can also catch me on Twitter @thatnerdywriter, where I talk mostly about my own writing projects. Thank you very much for listening. You guys have a great night, evening, morning, whatever, wherever you are.